What's going on, everyone? Nathan here. So after making my last video about why I truly believe any college student could benefit from having an iPad, I thought it'd be a good idea to go ahead and give you my opinion on what the best iPad case is. And without a doubt, it's got to be the ZUGU Alpha Case. This right here is for the iPad Pro. It's coming in at around $75, which I know sounds a little expensive, but after I run through all the boxes that this case checks, you're going to believe that it's worth every penny the same way I do. Let's get into it. So before I get started in the review, I want to quickly clarify what type of cases I'm comparing this to. And it's going to be all non-keyboard cases, because I think those are their own category and have different functions that this can't offer. But just for any protective folding case that allows you to have different viewing angles, different typing angles with your iPad, this is my go-to one. So the main design of this case is a full body clamshell protective case with a magnetic stand in the back that allows for different viewing angles when you fold over the top. This case is made out of high quality materials. The outside is this nice vegan leather, and on the inside it's completely covered in a microfiber material that's soft to the touch, and you won't ever have to worry about the case scratching up your iPad on the inside. So quality materials on this case, check. So to quickly go over the dimensions of this case comes in a thickness of 0.51 inches, which is just slightly over twice the thickness of the iPad itself. And this extra thickness comes from the raised edges around the screen to provide protection, as well as the raised edges around the camera bump and the magnetic flap in the back. But even with all this together, you get a great protection for not much added thickness, and you can't go wrong with that. In addition to this case not adding much thickness or bulk to your iPad, it also only weighs in at 1.08 pounds, which is just slightly over the iPad itself. So with this case on, it's essentially like having two iPads taped together. You're just doubling the weight and doubling the thickness, but the iPad is already extremely light and thin that it's worth it for the protection. So quality protection and not much added thickness or bulk, check. So this case also has perfect cutouts for all the speakers, all four of them, the mics, and also has really tactile buttons for the volume rockers and the power button. What's important is that some cases out there do not have the precise cutouts for the speakers, let's say. So when you go to play some video or some music, the case can actually muffle the sound coming out of the iPad, but that's not the case with this one. They line up perfectly, and I've noticed no diminish in audio quality coming from the iPad itself. I also want to point out this one part of the design. On the back, if you fold up the magnetic part, there are cutouts on the back. And I don't know if this is just for design purposes, for giving it an aesthetic appeal, because they do look pretty cool. I'm assuming that therefore, if you're completely pushing your iPad to the limit and it starts heating up, these are like little vents to dissipate some of the heat being created inside. So accessibility and tactile buttons, check. Another really important part that I believe an iPad case must have is the Apple Pencil support, and this case has two of them. Up top here, there's this own little cutout groove for the Apple Pencil, which just magnetizes right through the case to the iPad, and you're able just to plop it in, fits perfectly, and I've never not had a problem with it staying in there. And as soon as you put it in, it starts charging. It's perfect. You don't need another area to keep this, and there's even in the middle of the groove, it's slightly indented, and it just makes it easier just to grab the pencil on the go or when the iPad's down on the desk. But also, if you look on the back, there's a sleeve for your pencil. Now, this is just slightly more secure than up top. I've never noticed a problem with the Apple Pencil falling out when you put it on the side, but just in case you plan on, like, I don't know, throwing your iPad around or just tossing your backpack around while your iPad's in there, this back sleeve will definitely hold it more in place than the top one, but it does not charge it. That's the thing. So it's either you want the extra security or you want the always charge pencil, but either way, it's great. So support for the Apple Pencil, double check. So a quick little side feature that I also believe is very important, I want to point out. this case does indeed have the sleep awake feature. Open it up, turns on, close it, turns off. It's great, it's small, but it's definitely a must-have in today's world. So sleep wake feature, check. So one of the main features about this case are these grooves on the front right here. So when you flip over the iPad case, the grooves are now in line with the stand on the back, the magnetic stand. So you flip the stand out and you're able to align it with either set of divots throughout this. And I estimate that it ranges from around like an 80-degree angle down to a 40-degree angle. So you have a wide range here, and it's so sturdy. I've never had a problem with like typing while using it in this stand form. It's always great. I've never had a problem with it giving too much or bouncing. And so this right here is the bottom form. Again, it's kind of a high angle, especially like when I'm in class taking notes. I never use this. What I will do is I completely like unfold it or unuse the hook, the hinge, and then turn it around. And this right here will create a little angle itself. And then this is what I use to like draw, write. And in addition to the 8 predetermined standing heights and also this one with 0, you can also just turn it around and use it as like a tent. And so now you essentially have like infinite viewing angles that you want, as long as the surface you're using can withstand this. It's great, and I use this a lot while I'm just laying in bed, this form right here, and I have no complaints with the stand. So different viewing angles, check. So I'm just trying to give you my complete honesty here, and there are 2 flaws that I can find, and this is me just nitpicking the heck out of this case just to give you some flaws that you can think about. One flaw that really isn't like a big deal at all, but it's just something I've noticed. If you have it in your iPad in the vertical form, there isn't like a comfortable way to keep this propped up. The only way to do that is if you like use your stand, right, and then you leave it upright, but it only sits at a 90-degree angle, and it's very uncomfortable to use. It always feels awkward. So just keep that in mind. Like, I didn't think about it when I was ordering it, but there'll be some times where I want to use my iPad in the vertical orientation, and this case just doesn't allow for like there to be any sort of reasonable stand to use. But again, that's me just nitpicking the heck out of it. And the other thing that I've really noticed, now I've gone through 3 to 4 matte screen protectors from 2 separate companies, and I've tried my absolute best to line this up, and I feel like I've always been pretty decent at it. I feel like I did a pretty decent job with this one I have on right now. But there's like a lip around the inside of the case, and every single one of these screen protectors eventually pushed up, and like dust has gotten in there. This is the best one that I've had so far. This is my 4th screen protector, and it's just a tiny piece. It's just a tiny corner with some dust or dirt or something, but it's something that I want you to know. Please try out different screen protectors and just be aware that this will pull up some of them. So all in all, this is by far just the best iPad case you can get all around. It's thin, it's light, it's got every sort of accessibility feature that you could want, from the sleep awake to the stand to the viewing angles. It's sturdy, made out of quality materials, the Apple Pencil support. You can't go wrong with this case, and this is why I highly recommend it for anyone. And I know $75 again seems like a lot, but it's worth it. It's worth it to protect this iPad and to get the most out of it, and this really does enhance your experience. So I'm just curious, let me know what case you currently have for your iPad, and if you don't already have one, and if you plan on getting this one, let me know what colorway you're gonna get. I've just always been a big fan of navy. I just think it's like clean. I think it's classy. So yeah, I'm just curious. Leave that down below. And that's it for the video. So I'll be coming back real soon with another one. And if you found this enjoyable, give this a like. If I helped you make a purchase decision, please subscribe. And I will see you all on the next one. Bye.